Romeo, you didn't tell me that you had an ex-girlfriend before Juliet. Hey everyone, this is Rabbitearsblog and welcome to another in-theater movie review series. So today's movie that I'll be reviewing today is the Romeo and Juliet retelling, Rosaline. And before I get into my thoughts about this movie, here are a few words from the channel. Alright everybody, it's time to get on the social media train. Want to chat with me in 100 words or less? Then check out my Twitter account. Want to talk about movies, TV shows, and video games within the group? Then check out my Facebook account. Want to check out some of my ultra cool fan art? Then check out my DeviantArt page. Want to get the lowdown on everything that's happening on this channel? Then check all of the above. And now, we return to our regularly scheduled program. So the film starts off with a young woman named Rosaline who's currently dating Romeo. You know, Romeo from Romeo and Juliet. And she and Romeo decide to go to the masquerade ball together. But unfortunately, when Rosaline tries to get to the masquerade party, she ends up being stuck in the middle of nowhere. And it was then that Romeo ends up meeting up with Juliet. And it turns out that Juliet is none other than Rosaline's cousin. So when Rosaline finds out that Romeo has fallen in love with her cousin Juliet, Rosaline tries to find ways to make sure that Romeo and Juliet break up with each other. So what are my thoughts about this movie? I thought this movie was pretty fun. So let's talk about some of the things that I did like about this movie. So the first thing that I liked about this movie was the premise. I like the fact that this movie is about what would happen if Romeo had an ex-girlfriend and how said ex-girlfriend would react to him dating Juliet. And I thought that this movie did a pretty good job with dealing with that premise, like having Rosaline be the ex-girlfriend to Romeo, and we get to see how she's trying to break up Romeo and Juliet so she could get back with Romeo. And I thought that that was a really interesting way to handle this particular plot line and how this would all play out if Romeo had an ex-girlfriend. Another thing that I liked about this film was the humor. I like the fact that this film is a more modernized take on the Romeo and Juliet story, and I like how they were able to put in lots of pop culture references throughout this film. And I love the character of Rosaline herself, as she's like the most hilarious character in this entire film, and I love how snarky she is throughout this movie, as she brings in a lot of very good one-liners throughout this movie, and I just really love the humor of this movie overall. Now here's some problems that I have with this film. So the first problem that I have with this film was that I felt like most of the characters were very flat. With the exception of Rosaline, characters like Romeo and Juliet felt very flat to me, and it felt like they didn't really have much of a personality. So I kind of wish that Romeo and Juliet had a bit more personality in this film to kind of bring in the humor in this film and to bring more life to this film besides Rosaline herself, who's the only one of the characters that I found to be very interesting and brings a lot of life to this film with a lot of her quirky dialogue and how hilarious she is as a character. And then another problem that I have with this film was that I felt like the plot was a bit generic. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the premise about how this movie's about what would happen if Romeo had an ex-girlfriend and how said ex-girlfriend feels about Romeo dating Juliet. But this is something that I've seen a lot in a lot of romantic comedy films, where you have the main character who breaks up with somebody, and then said character sees that their ex-girlfriend or their ex-boyfriend is dating somebody else, and they try to break up that relationship. And I've seen this happen in a lot of romantic films before. So the fact that it's happening in this film, despite the fact that this is told from the perspective of Romeo and Juliet, still didn't feel that unique to me. But overall, I give Rosaline a watch it. Despite the fact that the film has a plot that I've seen happen in a lot of romantic films, and despite the fact that most of the characters, with the exception of Rosaline, were very flat to me, I did found this movie to be a very fun watch. It was really interesting seeing what would happen if Romeo had an ex-girlfriend and how said ex-girlfriend would react to Romeo dating Juliet. And I thought that the film made a lot of fun use with that. And I really did like Rosaline as a character. She's the snarkiest character in the film and also the most hilarious character in the film. So if you're looking for a more modernized take on William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet tale, I definitely recommend this movie. So those are my thoughts on Rosaline, and tell me in the comments down below, have you seen Rosaline? And if you have, did you like this movie? Did you hate this movie? And what's your favorite movie that's a retelling of Romeo and Juliet? Please let me know in the comments down below. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is Rabbitearsblog, and I'll see you guys later. Hey guys, like this video? If you want to check out more crazy content from this channel, then please hit that big old colorful subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra generous, then please support me through Patreon so I can make more awesome content for this channel.